Good morning. Good morning, everybody. So welcome to the forum this morning. Of course, it's Wednesday, and we're really happy to see you all here. And obviously, this is a topic that you guys are interested in. So there's a lot of new faces here tonight, or today. It's not, last night was a long night as well, but today. So if this is the first time to the forum and you read about it in the paper, but you're interested in seeing what we have to offer and you don't want to wait for the paper to come out, we would love for you to join us. We have some cards up here that you can do the scan, and you can receive our emails that come out every Saturday morning at 6 o'clock. So if nothing else, it's a reason to get out of bed, because you want to know what's going to be at the forum next week. My name is Phoebe Benziger. I'm one of 4 facilitators that we pick a Wednesday every month. We find a topic. We bug our speakers to death. Sorry, I get a little crazy coming the day before, like, you are coming, right? You know, I don't know how long I could sing and dance up here and do anything. I'm one of 4. Kathy Hevers is another one. The other 2 that aren't here, we have Barbara Bynum and Judy Ann Files. And so I feel like our topics every week are very informative. I mean, I find them fascinating. Call me crazy, but they are. But you guys at any time may wish to have a topic presented at the forum, and so we're always looking for new ideas. So if you have something you'd like to hear about, or you think the crowd would like to hear about, please let us know, because some of our best presentations have started with you guys in the audience. So as I look around this crowd, and I was telling Josh this morning, he's younger than the crowd, I said most of us in this room started with TVs where we had 3 stations. We had CBS, NBC, ABC, and it went off at 10 o'clock. Remember the little sound you'd hear at night? It'd go off. And so actually, that's what you had. You didn't have to think about it. Whatever they presented is what you watched. And of course we knew that. Well, now, it's just, in my mind, it's mind-boggling. What's offered, how you get it, how you pay for it, how do you share passwords anymore? You need to ask that. I don't know if you do it. Somebody told me that this morning, like, just don't. Just don't go to password jail. Okay. But it's just, and I actually have listened to this presentation that, and I'll introduce Josh in a minute, but it's very informative. Becky and Paige from Delta Montrose Electric, thank you for being here. They came and put these little cards in your desk on your chair. So use those, take them home with you, because I took mine home with me and I used one. If you didn't get one, they have more, and be sure you leave with one. So our speaker today is Josh Bunker, yeah, like R.G. Bunker, I try to associate Josh. He has been in Montrose for 5 years, 5.5 plus. He came here to work for Delta Montrose Electric, but he works with Elevate Fiber, which you guys probably know Elevate Fiber is the internet part of Delta Montrose Electric. He's not here to sell you on Elevate Fiber. That's not what he's here, so let's be very clear. He has a wingman that's already gone back to Delta Montrose Electric to get a part that they left there for the TV, and his name, when he comes, he's Tony Shepard. He's, like Josh said, he's his own little Vanna White. We all need somebody that's gonna show you what to do. So, as always with the forum, and you guys will have questions, so if you can hold on to those questions till the very end, and I will bring the microphone to you, and Josh will answer those questions at that point. So sometimes it's silly to ask a question, never silly to ask a question, but if you just listen to the whole presentation, that question you have may not need to be asked at the end. At the end, we welcome, Jim Hognes, every question you might possibly have. I know you already have a bunch just waiting to be asked. So, without further ado and taking up your time, this is Josh Bunker. He's with Delta Montrose Electric, who was incredibly nice to work with. We always like having you here. And his Tony, so I'm not going to introduce Tony when he comes in, but notice when this guy's standing up here, his name's Tony, and we'll get going. So you guys, thank you for coming, and I'll talk at the end. Lucky you.
Hey everybody, thanks for coming out today. How's everybody doing this morning? Good, good. As Phoebe mentioned, thank you for coming out, and my name's Josh Bunker, and we'll just dive right into it. So we're just going to talk about streaming. I'm sure that's a word that everyone has heard, and maybe some of you are already utilizing some streaming services at home. But we're just going to talk about kind of the differences between streaming and traditional TV service delivery, and kind of the differences between the different iterations of streaming that you can sign up for. So it's always helpful to kind of start at the beginning. Let's talk about traditional delivery. So traditional delivery methods of TV services include over-the-air broadcasts, where you have the little rabbit ears, that are on top of your television and whatnot. Cable TV services and satellite TV services. Most all of these are signal-based technologies, meaning there's some wavelength traveling through the air that's being broadcast from a tower or a satellite somewhere or over a cable that you tap into, and your TV broadcast or displays that. So typically these tie into the coaxial infrastructure in your home. So you've all seen those thick black cables, and they have the little copper prong in the center of them, and you screw them into the TV or into a box that's connected to your TV. That's what a coaxial cable is. So the quality of that video is contingent on a lot of various factors. If you look at the quality of the cable, if it's corroded, then that can affect how well that picture looks. Local weather conditions, satellite dish reception. If it's snowing and it's filling up your satellite dish, you can get degradation on your feed on your TV. Physical obstructions in the path from the broadcasting tower as well can be kind of invasive to your viewing experience. May require an on-site box for DVR recording, so being that you're watching something live, if you want to set something up to be recorded to view later, you have to have something that lives at your house that's connected to your TV that records it at a certain time, so you're accessing that via that box. So streaming has a few different iterations and delivery methods. There's the live streaming services. You may have seen ads for Sling TV or Hulu TV or YouTube Live, that sort of thing. Those really closely mimic your traditional delivery. You can have guide buttons with the full schedule of programs and channels that you're subscribed to. There's on-demand streaming services, which are more of the Netflixes and Prime Videos and HBO kind of a la carte services of the world. And then you've got hybrid, so Hulu and some other companies have a hybrid of on-demand services as well as live. They kind of bundle both into their application. So all of these are session-based. They utilize apps on smart devices like a smart TV. You might have like a Netflix app or something built into it. You can also have a Roku box that looks like this, or Fire Stick. Apple makes their own box that you can plug into a TV where you can pull those apps up as well. These do not tie into traditional coaxial infrastructure at all. It's just over the internet. You can connect these boxes to Wi-Fi. If you have an Ethernet computer cable in your house, you could connect it via that if it has the appropriate adapter and that sort of thing. So diving into the meat and potatoes of each individual iteration of streaming, what are on-demand streaming services? This pertains to standalone services with a mix of licensed and original content. So Netflix, Disney Plus, HBO Max, which is actually just called Max now, and Amazon are all big content providers in this category. So Netflix kind of cycles through, as an example, they cycle through content that they purchase from different entertainment companies to have a certain movie or TV series available on Netflix for a certain amount of time. So they kind of will phase those out and bring new content in. In addition to that, Netflix and Disney and all those companies have become so big and profitable that they've started making their own content, their own TV shows that are exclusive to that particular platform. So sometimes there's different pricing tiers and structures, and you'll see that kind of reflected on the sheet that's in front of you that has the price diagram there. They might start at a really reasonable cost, with ads to make it cheaper, and then go up in cost for, different fidelity and resolution packages, as well as concurrent streams. So if you want to stream more shows, if you've got a big family or something, if you want to stream more shows to more TVs simultaneously, you might have to pay a little bit extra for that. Live streaming services are fairly self-explanatory, but they very closely resemble traditional delivery methods. They've got live content, they've got all the commercials that everyone loves so much, and the guides and whatnot. So instead of having a physical storage unit, the shows that you choose to record, they actually live with your account. So anytime you're watching a live show that's on a streaming service, you're accessing a server that lives somewhere else. And so when you record that show, it lives on that server somewhere else. So you could log into it with your phone when you're out and about and watch recorded shows. You could log into it with a tablet, from really anywhere, and access that same recorded content because it lives with your account. Elevate does offer this type of service, and Sling is another noteworthy provider there. And then here's Tony, the aforementioned Vanna White personality. So what we're going to be doing with this up here, it's meant as kind of a visual aid. We're showing you different boxes that you can hook up to your TV that you could go purchase from various stores or order online. Once the presentation is finished, we'll finish setting this up, and we will have a little demo after the Q&A session. People can come in and tinker around with these various platforms if you want to get your hands on and kind of try them out and see what they're all about. And then hybrid is a mix of the aforementioned two categories. So Hulu is a great example. YouTube is another one. They offer mixed services where they provide on-demand content as well as live broadcasts, so you can kind of mix and match. A common thing that people talk about when they're referring to TV and their primary complaint is, I pay X amount of dollars, per month, and I only watch 3, 4, 5 channels. So a lot of broadcasters have shifted to kind of an a la carte, on-demand type of service. So you may, if you have one of these at home, you may have noticed on the application store where you're looking at what you can download, there may be like an ABC or a CBS app that you can get. And so as the industry has kind of changed and shifted to a streaming-focused, a streaming-focused world, really, a lot of these big companies, ABC and NBC included, have their own kind of on-demand service where you can pay NBC directly $10 or $15 a month and access only that content. So we can go into the pros and cons, because I know I'm hitting you guys with a lot of information here, but it's always good to go over the pros and cons of everything that's available to you. So we'll go over the pros and cons of traditional delivery live services first. So again, this does include satellite, cable TV, and over-the-air broadcasts. The pros, of course, is that over-the-air is free as long as you have an antenna and live in an area where you can get good reception to those channels that you care about watching. You can utilize pre-existing cables that exist in most homes, but the pros kind of stop there, in my opinion. The con side of things, satellite and cable TV packages are generally very expensive. Broadcasters have agreements with certain channels to be bundled together, which is why you have to pay a premium to go to the next package, and it comes with a bunch of extra channels that you don't necessarily care about. As such, when broadcasters and individual channels raise their rates, your TV subscription rates also increase. Of course, commercials. Nobody really likes to watch those, and those are, probably a third of the time you spend watching any program. If you're watching an hour-long program, only 40 minutes of that is the actual show. And of course, it requires bulky boxes at each TV in most cases with cable and satellite services. All right, so we'll go into the pros and cons of live streaming services next, which includes things like Elevate TV and Sling. The pros, there's device flexibility. You can watch on streaming devices plugged into TVs, tablets, phones. You can also pull up that stream on your computer. So the device that you want to watch it on is very flexible. That does include smart TVs also, and we can touch on smart TVs for a brief moment. Some of you may be wondering what a smart TV even is. It's just a screen that has internet connectivity, that has a storefront where you can download apps and view content. So that's really all it is. If you don't have a smart TV, it doesn't mean that you have to go spend hundreds of dollars on a smart TV. That's why boxes like this exist. The Fire Stick, which runs about $40 to $50, and the Roku. You can plug those into a port on your TV, and then this becomes the smart thing that does that for you. In the kind of drawback side of things, it's subject to the same broadcasting agreements. So, the Sling TVs of the world, they have all those same bundlings and price increases that we talked about in the previous slide. Still has all those pesky commercials, and depending on where the feed comes from, the source might still be from a satellite before you view it on the app. So if the weather is bad in the area where that satellite exists, you might still get that picture degradation. All right, we'll talk about on-demand services next, which includes Netflix, Max, Disney Plus, and whatnot. There is a low monthly cost per subscription comparing that to the live services, of course. There's no contract, so you're not locked in to pay an entity or a company for a long period of time if you're dissatisfied with the service. You only pay for what you care about. So, you can do a little bit of research, just, I want to watch this show, where can I stream that? And it might that search result might give you 2 or 3 different platforms that lives on. There's hundreds of movies and shows available to watch at any time, and many services have different price structures so that you can pick the package that's right for you. In most cases, there's no live sports or news broadcasts, though companies like Amazon do have exclusive rights to Thursday night football games. So as time progresses, a lot of the dynamics of where things are broadcast and shown will change. And that's really it as far as what I am sitting up here and talking about delivering to you. It's open for questions and answering those questions at this point in time, and we'll go over that, and then when we're done with that, we can finish setting up this little station, and you guys can see that if you would like to.
Does anybody have any questions, really? I'm sure you do. And actually, you guys think about your questions, and some of the questions will make you have more questions, so ask them.
Can you pre-record the devices with streaming, and can you pause and go back? And how do you do that?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I'm used to doing that with a dish network and a DVR recorder.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it lives within the app. Typically there's like an option button, and we can demonstrate that. We've got a demo unit that we can actually simulate that exact thing on. It's meant to really closely emulate your traditional look and feel of like a cable or satellite TV guide, where you select something that's coming up in the future, and then you can say, I want to record that. and you can absolutely set up a scheduled recording.
So that's recorded on a server somewhere else then? And
Yeah, it looks and feels the same as if it was right there in your living room. So it usually will have like a little red icon or something, a visual indicator after you've set up that recording to say it's going to record that show. And then there's a menu within the app that you go to access all of your recordings.
so that menu would then, you would be able to see what you have recorded in the future, and
Yes.
you can access that.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely.
I think I need a 6-year-old kid to show me.
Hi, Josh.
Hey.
In my shop, I have an antenna,
Mhm.
and you get a half a dozen programs on that or channels, but NBC has disappeared. Is that because of what reason? My antenna or?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different reasons. A tower might have gone out. Has it disappeared altogether, or when you select it?
No, it just has disappeared, and I can't.
Interesting. Yeah, it might be worth doing like the channel scan. I don't know if you've done that on your TV lately to see if it, it might be picked up on a different channel. It might be broadcast from a different tower or something now. It might be worth doing that in case the broadcaster has kind of shifted gears. But there also are a lot of smaller local broadcasters that kind of just drop and they don't really give anybody a heads up. Sometimes with our TV service, we capture stuff over the air and then deliver it through our app for the local channels. And every now and then we'll get a support ticket that a customer or several customers might be stating that a channel is no longer available. So we'll reach out to the broadcaster, and it turns out that they've chosen to stop broadcasting and haven't really notified anybody. So that's also a possibility.
It's a great time to invite your grandkids to come spend a couple weeks this summer, right?
So I see it says on this rate sheet, for example, Hulu is $7.99 per month.
Yeah.
So what is that? And what is that? Do you have to subscribe to Hulu and then pay extra for on-demand content?
Yeah. So
And then what, if you want the extra shows, how much do they cost? And what shows are available? And then if you subscribe to Hulu and then it's not available on Hulu, then you have to subscribe to these other services to be able to get the other program.
Right. Yeah. It's a lot to kind of take in, and a lot of these streaming platforms like the Fire Stick and the Roku have a really nifty search function, which we'll demo for you. So if there's like a specific show that you're interested in watching, you can just search it on the Roku, and it'll tell you everything that it can be shown on, which is really helpful when you're just trying to kind of digest where do I go to do this. So the Hulu, all those pricing structures, you'll notice it'll say starting at a certain cost. And so Hulu's starting base package is $7.99, as you mentioned, and that's all their on-demand stuff, but it includes ads that kind of interrupt the show to keep the price down so that they get that revenue from those ad providers. So if you want the package without ads, it might be, I can't remember off the top of my head, but somewhere around $10-ish a month, $10 to $15 a month probably. And then if you want the on-demand stuff, and it's worth just going into each individual company's website. They have a nice breakdown of what's included in each of their price tiers and structures. But each company is a little different on how they deliver and organize their offerings.
So Roku and the Fire Stick, they are the platform that you need to get all of these, right? You can't get these apps without having either a Roku or...
They're two of the most common boxes that you can plug into a TV where you can get a lot of these platforms. So the Fire Stick, a Roku, we don't have one here today, but there's Apple makes a box also. It's called Apple TV. All of those are just boxes where you can download apps for free. The app is free, and then you subscribe through the app and pay, a Netflix or a Hulu directly after you sign up, and you just view it through the app on the box.
Josh, maybe there is a nurse, I'm right here.
Oh, sorry.
There is a nursing class in here directly after we're finished at 9.
Mhm.
So what about if you would show us right now
Sure.
what you're talking about? Because I bet a lot of questions will be answered and more will come up
Yeah.
after they've seen it.
Absolutely. Yeah, we were going to plug into this HDMI cable up here, but we were having some technical difficulties with it. So forgive us. It'll be this tiny screen, but feel free to come up closer. We'll just take a few moments here to finish setting up this station. While Tony's doing that, do you guys have any other questions? Go ahead.
So I have YouTube TV, and I'm just wondering, you have checked that, it includes exclusives, but Elevate does not. What do you mean by exclusive? So I'm comparing those two specifically.
Yeah, so some companies like Netflix and YouTube and Hulu have their own exclusive content. So Hulu produces some original show or original movie, and they produce it themselves. So it lives only with Hulu. It's kind of like if you wanted to watch The Sopranos, it's only available on HBO. That is what I mean by exclusive and original. So Elevate TV is just a live streaming service. All it does is we have 3 different packages that include different channels, and so whatever those channels are showing is what Elevate TV has to offer. Maybe someday we'll make our own original content.
I signed up for a Streaming 101 class on March 21st. I'm right here.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, I signed up for a Streaming 101 class.
Mhm.
I don't see that listed on here, but that's still going, right?
Yeah, I think we use the same materials. This is actually going to be the same exact presentation as that class, so we use the same materials to print off, but that is still occurring. So.
You will have more on hands-on work.
Yes.
So when navigating through these streaming devices,
Mm-hmm.
it reminds me of a carnival shell game. And where you have to have a $5.99 subscription to watch one show, particularly like the NFL channel.
Mm-hmm.
Is the SEC or Congress looking at getting involved in this? Because I really think the customers are not being served properly.
Sure. Yeah. I to my knowledge, I don't think so. It's just kind of an open market. As far as how people want to price things and how companies want to price things and the things that they deliver, they kind of leave it up to the consumer to pay for what they want to pay for. Whether that's an a la carte service or bundling of some kind with a live streaming service.
Kind of following up on Tom's question, on the handout we have, it has some save these dates.
Mm-hmm.
Are those accurate dates for things that are coming up?
Yes, they are.
And how would we register for those if we wanted to attend?
There should be so if you go to our website, elevateinternet.com, you can register right there.
At elevateinternet.com.
Thanks.
Any questions?
On this side of the room, do you guys have questions over here? Silka, okay.
I'm just curious,
Mhm.
how susceptible to hacking
Um,
it is,
so-
your streaming services?
So, I mean, it's pretty secure. A lot of people, if you ask a question about sharing passwords and, if you text someone a password or write it down somewhere, that's kind of a way that it gets out, that your account could get hacked, essentially, if it's kind of out in the open in that manner. So it's best practice to just keep your passwords to yourself and not, share them, and certainly not in a manner that can be viewed by others.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean about my personal hacking.
Sure.
I meant the whole system. So there are no longer radios that I listen to the news, so my only news source is the streaming service.
Right.
So the whole system, everybody connected to it.
I see.
Is being hacked.
Sure.
My question is, how susceptible to
Yeah, I mean,
is it?
yeah, many of these big companies are very secure. They take cybersecurity very seriously, and you know, everything's encrypted, and you know, everybody does their best to protect their assets and their information. So, you know, if an employee at Netflix clicked on a link, you know, that let somebody into their inner network, that's, you know, something that could always happen, but they take, you know, they have measures in place to ensure that they're protecting their assets and information as much as possible.
Can I ask by a show of hands, how many of you already use streaming services?
Awesome.
Can I ask how many are comfortable with the streaming? Or do you feel like you're pretty cool with what you got going? And are you happy with your streaming service and what they offer and what you?
Yeah.
We have a question. How many of you still have Dish? Oh, that would be me.
I don't know if you can help me with this or not. I'm asking on behalf of an elderly neighbor. So his grandkids set him up with Roku, and he has internet through Spectrum. And while he's watching shows, it just cuts off, and he gets an error message saying that you need some kind of proper code from Spectrum or something to watch this thing. And he's tried to solve that problem and cannot solve that problem.
Yeah, usually an error code, depending on the entity that's broadcasting that, if it's a window that pops up on Spectrum's app or a code that pops
It's
up.
on the Roku,
Uh-huh.
it shuts down the Roku
I see.
accessing the apps. I don't know.
Huh. Yeah, I'd have to look at the, you know, specific window to speak directly to
Right.
his specific problem, but.
What are some possibilities?
Yeah, so a lot of times, you know, if you have a Roku set up in a room that's really far away from your router and it's wirelessly connected, or if you have some interference that you're not aware of, like a lot of printers in people's homes will broadcast and that sort of thing. But errors can pop up saying like you have a network connection error, please reconnect. And so those types of things, those types of scenarios can lead to those errors. But if there's like a specific error on like a Spectrum app or something that says, please contact Spectrum to get more information, I don't really know what would cause that for them.
Anyway, now it's you can't solve it, can't watch.
Yeah, it would be worthwhile.
It's on antenna now.
Usually there's a code that's associated with that, and so if he documents that, writes it down, and then does a search, usually there's some context that's given on a website that would be helpful.
Thanks.
Yeah.
You just unplug both devices.
Yeah, when in doubt, reboot, right? Yeah.
So I was telling Josh this morning as I was getting ready to come here and I was listening to the news, they had a whole new streaming platform that's being released today that's, of course it's Super Bowl weekend, but it's, do you want to watch all your sports? Then this is the streaming platform to go with. And I'm saying that because it would be nice if it would just kind of stay for a while and let me get used to it, but when they kept every day kind of switching it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know you have no control over that, but
Right.
yeah.
I wish I did. You know,
I wish you did.
As far as you know, the advertisements go and everything, I think you're talking specifically about ESPN
Yeah,
Plus or
it was in the other room.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think you know Disney owns a lot of things. They own Hulu. They own themselves. They own a lot of you know big franchises like Star Wars and Marvel and things like that. So if you bundle, if you can pay for bundles through Disney, you know, to get Disney Plus and Hulu and ESPN Plus. They also own ESPN. to kind of save a little money. And so a lot of, I wouldn't say all sports are on ESPN, but you know, anything that would be broadcast on ESPN, if you're
Right.
subscribed to it, you could
Right.
access.
So you're able to watch the Super Bowl game on Sunday, right? And how are you gonna watch it, just so I know? Because you have what?
Yeah, I'll probably use Elevate TV
Okay.
at my house.
Okay.
I've got, yeah, but
Probably.
I have to say that.
You also have to say how much you love it.
I love it, I do,
Yeah.
yes.
All right, so, yes, so we have about 25 minutes. Are there any more questions, you guys? I know you have, Jim. But hang on.
So we have Elevate Internet,
Mhm.
but I don't know where I've been, but I've missed entirely that there's Elevate TV.
Yeah.
So maybe you need to do a little more advertising. But anyway, so this price on here is just Elevate TV. It's not Elevate Internet.
Correct, yeah.
Okay.
So we have 3 different services. We have internet, phone, and TV. And so everything that we have there's no like bundling costs or tricks and tips or anything like that. We have like a la carte services. Our internet is one price, our TV is one price. So that is speaking exclusively to the TV pricing.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mhm.
I live a mile and a half from this building.
Uh-huh.
And when Elevate came out,
Mhm.
I applied for it.
Mhm.
Like the very week it came out.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know, it's been 5 years or so.
Okay.
I still don't have Elevate anything.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, get with me and I'll get your information and contact info and we'll definitely be in touch for sure.
And I think we need to say again that we're not here trying to get people to take Elevate.
I mean, if you want to.
I know, but I mean,
totally fine.
because I know there are other cable services that people are happy with,
Mhm.
and the bottom line is you need a really good internet service to do what the streaming that you're talking about.
Yes.
But I will say on behalf of Elevate, because that's what I have, I've wondered about the strength in our house, and I tell you what, you guys came out and spent the whole day and tested everything and left and didn't charge me a thing because we had it. So that was a nice service to have, yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right, any more questions? Hang on, Tim.
Yeah.
You guys be thinking of more questions before we.
On one of these handouts, it's got Elevate starting at $50.95 a month.
Uh-huh.
There's another handout up off the table that says your local, simple TV local internet Elevate is $45.95.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, we have gone through a rate increase, so we might need to take a look at that documentation, so thank you.
Josh,
So Becky's
the
got.
price you see reflected on this sheet is the new price starting for April 1st.
Oh, thank you, thanks. Thanks for that clarification.
So-
Did everybody hear that from you?
So the question was that you've got the handout on your seat, but she also picked one up on the desk and it showed a discrepancy on what Elevate TV costs. The answer is, it costs the higher amount, the one that you see that was on your seat. It's not a whole lot, but yeah, just so there's no confusion.
I love the fact that we've got fiber optic. That's the high speed is really helpful. But my question is, I run just Wi-Fi only and get thousands and thousands of plenty of TV shows.
Yeah.
But if you want to add something extra, like say ESPN, it says, you'll get a message that says, okay, go on your iPhone and type in ESPN.com, activate, and it gives you a code.
Yep.
But then it asks you, you have to first scroll down through a list of TV providers. So if you aren't already hooked to a TV provider, you can't get that.
Right.
Why is that?
So some apps, like ESPN Plus, is an a la carte account-based thing, and there is, I believe, at one point, I don't know if it's still in existence or not, there was an ESPN app where you could verify, like if you were paying for ESPN through Elevate or Spectrum or any other company, you can select your provider, and because you're already paying for that content through that provider, it authorizes you to be able to use that through that app on demand without additional cost.
But you have to have first been a subscriber to one of the major TV sources.
Right, on that
And
particular.
that's what bothers me about that. You should be able to.
Yeah, they're right. And was it ESPN specifically?
Yes.
It was? Okay. So there is an ESPN Plus app that you can get where you don't have to be subscribed to a cable or a satellite provider. You can just pay for that.
Right.
Yep.
So Josh, a smart TV is a TV that you buy that already has the apps on it.
Yes.
And if you don't have a smart TV, then you have to buy the platform, which might be the Roku box or the Fire Stick, Amazon Fire Stick.
Yeah, and if I may insert a little suggestion, so I do have smart TVs at my house, but I also have Roku boxes attached to them. And you may be asking why.
Why?
Thank you.
Yeah.
TV manufacturers, the thing that they care about the most is how that picture looks, the screen. The streaming capabilities of the TV are kind of a secondary thought for them. And so sometimes, I mean, there's thousands and thousands of TVs that get manufactured. It can be a little bit of a gamble how good the streaming platform on that TV will be serviced and supported over time. So, you know, there's Hisense, there's TCL, there's Samsung, just you name it. There's a ton of different brands. Roku is around, and you know, it's pretty simple, and it's built for streaming. And so I prefer just using a box that's plugged to my TV, and that's my personal preference. But sometimes it can be a little bit of a gamble on how well, you know, your streaming will continue to work on the TV.
Sure. So if you have more than one TV, and maybe one of them's smart and one of them is not smart, that one would have to have its own Roku. You wouldn't, the internet service you have in your house isn't gonna carry into that TV without it being a smart TV.
Correct.
Right.
So most people have HD TVs these days, which are these flat screens, and they all have HDMI ports in the back of them.
Yeah.
And so the Fire Stick and the Roku have HDMI ports. So even if your TV is not smart, you hook up an HDMI port out of your Roku or Fire Stick or platform of your choosing into your TV, and then that becomes the smart thing that you stream those apps through.
All right, do you guys understand that?
It's kind of like selecting an input for a VCR
And it's
or
okay if you
Blu-ray
don't.
player.
I mean, you'll have an opportunity to talk to them right here in a second. Plus, there's more workshops at Delta Montrose Electric, which I have also been to, and they actually serve coffee at those. that we do not do that here. Any more questions before we let you come up? Yes, Dr. Holly? Again, it's a good time to have your grandkids come over for a while, clean up the house.
Well, that's really my question. Is there anyone available in the community that can actually come out and help you? I mean, I have Apple TV and I have a Fire Stick.
Yeah.
And I still struggle trying to figure out those things. And without a teenager or a young kid in the house, I don't know how to hook all that up and make sense out of it.
Yeah. If you're an Elevate subscriber, you can always, you know, call us and select the technical support option. We've got a 24/7 technical support center, and if there's a problem that they're unable to solve, they'll escalate it to the next group, and we can absolutely schedule a service call.
Good to know.
Yeah.
But I think really, and I asked this to Tony when you guys were setting up, I said, Tony, would you come to my house and kind of, you know, do an evaluation and help and say, and he actually said yes. I don't think that may be something you advertise, but it's on, okay, you didn't hear it here, but.
It'll be the next marketing push, your own personal Vanna White, and we'll have
You
Tony.
guys,
Yeah.
that would be a great service, I tell you what. All right, so any more questions before we kind of turn it on to this part of it? All right, so I know a lot of you back there probably can't see, and maybe some of you don't need to see. So if you feel like you've had your questions answered, or you're gonna go to Delta Montrose Electric to one of their workshops, I highly encourage that. But before we start that, can I just, thank you. Let's give them a round of applause, you guys.
Thank you guys. Thank you, Tony.
And also, I know some of